What's up, A to Z Sports here, live again on a Wednesday. Glad to be back and going to have a couple short weeks here before Titans training camp gets going on. But there's plenty of conversations to have. Today, we are going to discuss ESPN's Bill Barnwell ranking the skill position groups of all 32 NFL teams and having the Titans dead last. So wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends all put together and ranked 1 through 32, and Cam Ward supporting cast coming in 32nd out of 32 NFL teams. Where was Bill Barnwell the most wrong? Where was he right? Because he wasn't all wrong. I have a couple places that he was right. One in particular, that Bill Barnwell nailed it for an outsider's perspective, a national analyst looking at the Titans. So it does feel good to be back, busting diamonds. So I'm glad to have some of you guys in the chat. Some of you guys I'm not glad to have in the chat because you were complaining about us taking time off. We'll talk about that more maybe off the top here. But Easton, welcome in. Hope you had a good little week break here. We got some sports trivia to wrap up this show, but talking Titans supporting cast around Cam Ward, where Bill Barnwell was wrong, where he was right, and where should the Titans be ranked with their supporting cast. But Easton, welcome in. Let's get this thing off and roll it.
What up, what up? Good morning to you, Austin. Good morning to everybody in the chat. Hope everybody is having a great, I was going to say start to your week, but it is Wednesday. So hope everybody's having a great week so far. And we've got, there's what, like 9 more shows before we're talking about training camp?
2 weeks from today is training camp practice numero uno.
Yeah, we are so close, folks. So looking forward to being on with you guys live every morning from now until the end of time, I think. And so that's exciting.
Now until next July 4th weekend.
Right. And apparently my mic is not working properly, which I can fix rather easily. It's my camera's mic, so that's why I probably sound like I'm in a microwave
bathroom.
How about this? Is this a little bit better? How about that?
So much better.
I would imagine so. Yeah, folks, sorry, it sounded like I was in a bathroom there for a minute. No, I am here. Happy to be with you guys live this morning. Yeah, exciting conversation. Looking forward to, kind of a last minute thing. Austin and I saw this first thing this morning and we're like, okay, well, we'll talk about this. It's the time of year to just kind of talk about whatever comes across the old desk here. And I think that this is an interesting conversation from a national perspective that Bill Barnwell, who I like and adore, frankly, I think his work is fantastic, but I think that he missed the mark on a number of things here. And so we're going to talk about where he went wrong and what is going to age poorly. So looking forward to that. Got to like the show though first this morning. That's number one thing we need you to do. Hit that like button on Facebook, on YouTube. It is the easiest way for you to be a friend of the show. If you have forgotten the drill from the past couple of days we've had off, that is what you do. Number one, you like that show, and then you jump into the comments with a number of familiar faces. Good to see you guys in the chat. Want to hear your thoughts on this morning's topic. All right, Austin, let's get it started.
Yeah, let's do it officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports here live on a Wednesday. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Easton Freeze, one of our Titans reporters for A to Z Sports.com. We're Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. You can hit us up at A to Z Sports. We also leave us a 5-star Google review. We are live again, which means we have to thank our sponsors off the top. They make the show happen, and they help out all of you guys as well, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. And our friends at Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. They are local to the mid-state area, and they're also online for your convenience at bartondrury.com. So, yes, we are live again. Finally, oh my gosh, finally live again. God forbid we take 5 days off surrounding the 4th of July holiday when nothing is happening in the world of sports. Literally nothing.
We're pretty lax around here. We don't, we go live when we feel like we want to go live. We certainly don't ever do 5 days a week. Austin, you've got to, when you're trying to learn how to deal with bullying, or you're teaching kids how to deal with bullying, it's like, don't let the bully bother you. If you make them realize that they don't bother you, then they'll go away. Just quit letting these folks in the comments whining about it. Get your goat. They're going to keep doing it if they're getting your goat.
I had Ryan Roberts on vacation this week. He'll be back next week. Yeah. Easton, you got a little miniature trip before training camp next week. Right. We've got an announcement to come over the next couple weeks as well. I just came off a little mini vacation last week as well. So look, we're trying to squeeze all that out and then get back to, because there are no days off. There are no days off. Basically, from now, we'll take off Labor Day. That's Monday. Take off Labor Day Monday because that's going into week 1. Mm-hmm. After that, Thanksgiving we'll take off. We'll take off Christmas, and that's it. That's literally it. So there we go. That's all we're going to have to do here on this morning show is get back into it. Hope everybody, look, I hope you appreciated the recorded content because Ryan Roberts went out there and recorded an interview with former Titans Michael Griffin and Ben Troop. I know
we could have just gone dark. I mean, it would have been way easier.
Maybe
next time we will just go dark because you people don't appreciate But I was talking to a friend the other day about, he was like, oh man, the Sunday scaries are getting me, the weekends. It made me realize I have not experienced anything close to that feeling since grade school, because in this industry, I just these people that work till the midday Friday and then woohoo weekend. I'm not thinking about work for 2.5 days. Can't relate, man.
Nope,
all right.
Nope, not us. Can't be us. So let's dive into it because Bill Barnwell goes through a lot of his rankings projects each and every summer. And we've got his 32 ranking of the position groups, right? Of the skill players here. And so Bill Barnwell ranked the best and worst skill player position groups across the NFL. He does the Titans 32nd, dead last. So we'll get to that in a second. But here's the criteria, Easton, that Bill Barnwell used. He only talked about 2025 projections. He was not worried about salary cap or contract value or age in how they go about 2 years from now and setting this team up for the next 3-year window. It was not that. It was only about 2025 on the field. Injury history and suspensions matter. Wide receivers are weighted over running backs and tight ends, and only the top 5 contributors accounted for these rankings. So you can only have 5 on the field at one time. So that makes sense to just have 5 top contributors a part of his rankings. The Titans were dead last at 32nd, Easton. And we're going to go through real quick, set the table. So 32nd was the Titans. 31st was the Carolina Panthers. 30th was the Patriots. 29th was the Cleveland Browns. I think this is kind of a shocker because a lot of people think they could maybe contend for the Super Bowl this year. 28th, Buffalo Bills. 27th, New York Jets. 26th, New York Giants. That's kind of the back end of the NFL. So the Titans are dead last behind Panthers, Patriots, Browns, terrible teams. Giants, terrible team. Jets, who knows, right? Probably not a good team either. So that is the back end of the NFL from Bill Barnwell. So Easton, now here is Bill Barnwell's analysis of the Titans supporting cast of the running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends for Cam Ward. He says Tony Pollard looked better than he did while recovering from a fractured fibula with the Cowboys the year before. But Tennessee's lead back ranked 20th out of 23 players with at least 200 carries in success rate. The receiving efficiency he showed in Dallas before the injury didn't come back either, as he often was reduced to a safety valve. Tyjae Spears had better success rate, but virtually no explosiveness. Just 2 of Spears' 84 carries went for more than 12 yards. The hope will have to be an improved offensive line another year under legendary assistant coach Bill Callahan will unlock the run game. Now, over the passing game. Number 1 pick Cam Ward's group of receivers are well-seasoned. Tyler Lockett.
No, well-seasoned.
Oh.
Well-seasoned.
Well-seasoned. Well-seasoned.
They are ... well-seasoned.
I've heard it both ways. Weird paragraph line.
They are well-seasoned.
Well-seasoned. Tyler Lockett was a cap casualty in Seattle whose numbers were way down during his final year with the Seahawks. Joins a link up with 30-year-old Calvin Ridley, who was better moving around the formation in Tennessee after being trapped on the outside in Jacksonville. But he dropped 7 passes and wasn't always the reliable target in a struggling group of quarterbacks needed. Van Jefferson, a second-round pick in 2020, might be valued for his blocking and professionalism, but he's averaged just 0.7 yards per route run over the last 2 seasons. This feels like a group where there could be 3 new starters in 2026. Rookie 4th-rounder Alec Iomanor has the upside to push for a starting role and a leg up on division rival. His best game at Stanford came in 23, when a fair amount of his 294 yards came against over and past Travis Hunter, who will be with the Jags twice a year. So that is Bill Barnwell's analysis of the Titans' dead last rankings in wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends. So we're going to ask you guys here in a few minutes, where was he most wrong?
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to say this. He was very right in one way, because most national analysts, Easton, will somehow, some way, just toss in Traylon Burks. Traylon Burks. Traylon Burks. Oh, Traylon Burks. Traylon Burks. Maybe Traylon Burks? No, but Bill Barnwell had no mention of Traylon Burks.
Well,
so that is where he was most right? Most right.
Sure. I at this point, that is a prerequisite to be.
No, but look,
hang on. Let me finish my sentence.
Okay.
It's a prerequisite to be brought up as a topic on this show. I'm not interested in discussing anybody's opinion who thinks that Traylon Burks is a part of this offense at this point in time, because there's not paying great attention, and then there's not paying any attention at all. You're on a different planet, and at this point, that's what you have to be to even utter his name in a paragraph in an article like this. So I'm with you that is unfortunately the MO up until this point, but at this point, I am no longer entertaining anybody that is unplugged enough or foolish enough to utter such things.
Right. So MB says that's fair. He's not exactly wrong.
About what? The ranking or the analysis? Because those are two very different questions.
Totally. So lay that out there, because I saw you tweeted out before the show after we decided this is our topic for today. That you said we're going to talk about this, and there was somebody responded and said, yeah, 32. So kind of do the separation of the conversation here for us.
Yeah, I mean, so just on its face, the Titans being 32nd, if you are ranking the position groups, because the Titans skill players are a collection of a ton of uncertainty. I don't have any issue with if you're trying to rank what's proven and what's not, them being at the bottom or them being dead last, because it is so much projection right now. That's fine. I'm patient enough to wait until September for us to start to see that actually happen before we get ahead of ourselves in assuming guys are better than they are or whatnot. But the issue, and we are going to, by the way, I think there's some argument whether or not they are 32 or 31 or 30. We can talk about the guys that are ranked just ahead of them. But that's neither here nor there to me. Like whether they're 30th or 32nd, whatever. The problem for me is that the analysis, as we just read, and I want us to kind of dissect it in detail here in a minute after we get some answers from the chat, is almost at every turn completely wrong, or at the very least missing some key element of context that I don't necessarily blame Bill, who, again, I like Bill a lot. I listen to his podcast. I read his stuff all the time. I think he's very good at what he does. And I think it's very difficult, especially with a team like the Titans that has, last year, it was very hard for these national guys to keep up with what the Titans are doing, both on a professional and a personal level, the desire to and the bandwidth to be able to pay attention to a team like that. I think that it's showing through a little bit that he's not paid super close attention to what they did last year and what they've been doing this offseason. Right,
100%. So MB follows up and says, clarifying his comment, he says, what he said about Pollard, Spears, and Ridley, etc., was correct.
I disagree.
I'm with you as well, because Brian says, I don't agree with the ranking, but agree with the take. And I think you and I are off on that one too.
Wow,
so
sure.
I'm fat. Look, that's just two comments, two people watching the show that think the analysis was correct. I think the analysis was wrong. Easton, you do too. And so I'll throw it up there on the board again. So Bill Barnwell has the Titans 32nd out of 32 in the NFL for skill players around Cam Ward. He talks about Tony Pollard's lack of success rate, ranked 20th out of 23 players with at least 200 carries. Tajay Spears had a better success rate, but no explosiveness, just 2 carries went more than 12 yards. The offensive line needs to grow. You have Tyler Lockett, cap casually, 32-year-old Calvin Ridley, 7 drops, but 1,000 yards. Van Jefferson, Elikayu Manor as the rookie here who could really surprise. So I think here's what I want to ask. I want to ask you guys, where was Bill Barnwell most wrong? Where was Bill Barnwell most wrong with his analysis about the Titans' skill positions around Cam Ward? Where is Bill Barnwell most wrong with his analysis? Not with his rankings, but his analysis with these guys here. We'll get to you guys in the chat here momentarily. Bless you, Easton. But first, I tell everybody about our friends at Barton Drury Insurance Group. You only get one. Barton Drury Insurance Group is where you should go if you have any insurance needs, whether it's your personal life, your family, maybe you're running a business and you need some health coverage or whatever it may be for your workers' comp for your company as well. Barton Drury Insurance Group has you covered. They are local to the Nashville mid-state area and do a phenomenal job of making you feel comfortable, making sure you understand your options and help you pick the right choice for whatever your needs are. They've got it all: workers' comp, health benefits for your employees, 401k planning, home, auto, umbrella, everything right there to offer, and can help walk you through it to make sure that you trust them, the experts, because we're experts in other things. Everybody's an expert in something most of the time. They're experts right here with insurance coverage. So check them out online at bartondrury.com.
There is so much more to say, but first make sure you've liked the show and then leave a 5-star Google review for us, por favor. Search ATOZ Sports on Google, find that 5th star on the right, and then leave us whatever feedback you are interested in letting us know. Whatever you want us to read, we will read it. We're happy to read it. Say whatever you'd like. Your feedback is a gift, but leave it in the form of a 5-star Google review, please, and thank you.
All right, where is Bill Barnwell most wrong about the Titans skill positions? Easton, I will send you the chat where he says Tony Pollard. He was not very impressed with Tony Pollard. Not impressed with Tajay Spears. 7 drops for Ridley. Underwhelming year last year for Lockett. So what are you seeing from the chat here on where he was most wrong about the Titans skill set or skill position?
Rebecca says that Ridley still has juice. Tall Texan says it's when he assumed he knows what determines success rate. Darius says he was wrong about Pollard because he faced a ton of stacked boxes because of the quarterback position being so bad. So, of course, he wouldn't be as explosive. A lot of Tony Pollard can run like a madman. Johnny saying he's most wrong about potentially having 3 new starters next year, that Ridley isn't going anywhere. That's interesting. Most wrong about Ridley. Chris Jump says he has not the right players starting. There you go, Chris. Lockett and Jefferson probably not starting most of the season. Yes. Cap says he's right about it all, which, all right. People giving me a hard time for not pasting over the labels of the drinks that I have in my no free ads. Couldn't be bothered. Don't really care about that. Didn't mention to any of the Titans tight ends. That's certainly a thing. We'll discuss that here in a minute. Let's see.
Here's a good one from Jason. Barnwell doesn't understand how much the offensive failures were due to Levis.
Sure.
That's one. So that's not my answer. My answer is how wrong he is about Tony Pollard. In part because of Levis and the offensive line. Like success rate for running back, I don't understand. I don't know how that is determined. I don't know. Do you have an understanding of how you determine a success rate for a run?
Yeah, it's just based on expected yards, what is expected of you on a play versus what you actually succeed in doing.
So that takes into account
whether a run is a plus or a minus, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like Tony Pollard did more than we expected him to do last year with what he was given. That's my success rate. like sure. the guy had 1,000 yards. Who was the starting center for the back half of the Titans season? Corey Levin.
Tony Pollard was the best player on the Titans offense from start to finish last season.
And there's no arguing that.
Correct. I mean, this analysis from Bill, and I'm not going to, I don't know what he did or didn't do to prepare for this article, so I'm not going to accuse him of how much he watched or what he didn't watch, but it reads like somebody that their analysis of Tony in particular is based on looking at some of the, more, basic analytics like success rate.
Yeah, he opened up his Pro Football Focus account and went to
right. Some of the numbers beyond just the counting stats, so not pure box score scouting, but analytics score scouting a little bit, and it not actually, having gone through the week to week ride of what Tony Pollard did, also not understanding the last 4, 5, 6 somewhere in there number of games that he played that he probably shouldn't have been playing in, that he was just gutting it out because he's a big team guy and they desperately needed him out there. but yeah, he was just about the only player that every single week we came on the post-game show and we'd be talking about how this entire team, all 53 guys, are a complete and utter disappointment, except for our perfect, beautiful little boy, Tony Pollard, who can do no wrong. Good game, Tony. Everybody else, you suck.
He did fumble a couple of times that were like,
you're right.
Really unfortunate timing, but you're like, okay, Tony, you get a pass.
But it honestly felt like when you're watched like pick up hoops when one guy is having to carry the team, and then you could feel that they're pressing, and when they start to press, they, like a lot of his mistakes felt like, I don't know. Anecdotally, I was giving him a pass in the moment, like you said, because I'm like, well, he's doing so much out there. I'm not surprised that there's some mistakes because he's just having to do the most. So yeah, like he was a good back, and also pull back up the analysis there. He pokes at the lack of use in the receiving game.
Yeah,
which like he wasn't used in that way because they didn't have a passing game that was frankly, they didn't have a passing game capable of utilizing tertiary players in the passing game like Tony Pollard would be. I'm going to go ahead and say that this year, Tony Pollard's usage in the passing game goes up pretty significantly because they're going to have a passing game that's capable of using a player that's a quick game player. Like that's the whole, again, that goes back to the understanding the Levis of it all, right? Or the Mason Rudolph of it all. Either guy, pick your flavor. So that's my big issue with the Tony Pollard thing. My answer, by the way, to this question is just the general, because, one of his criteria is the five biggest impact players, however he phrased it.
Yeah, it is the, sorry, let me scroll back up to see how the focus is on elite players and teams' top 5 contributors.
Okay, elite players and top 5 contributors. So I understand. I'd want to ask Bill the whole elite players thing. So is he? Maybe I need to read the whole article. Maybe he didn't include a lot of expected rookies to play because he can't yet deem them. You know what I mean? Like
excuse me. He brought up in the preface to the rankings of it's impossible to perfectly project what each rookie draft pick will do.
Okay.
He says the best way to project someone like Raiders wide receiver Jack Besh, who was a 58th pick in April.
Who came to mind, actually. That's funny.
Was to look at the historical data from wideouts taken towards the end of round 2 and what they did as a rookie, which has nothing to do with Jack Besh with the Raiders or the Raiders situation. Like Elikai Manor is.
But that explains why he didn't mention the 3 4th-round pass catchers.
He mentioned Elikai Manor as a guy.
Right. Well, yeah. But he mentions Ian Manor like in I have to get a 5th guy in here. Let me just kind of like it was a throwaway.
But here's the thing. Ian Manor was number 6.
Right. Oh, I see. So he's mentioning him as kind of an out. That's smart writing on Bill's part, actually, because he mentions all these well-seasoned guys that he seems to think are going to be the starters this year, which that's my answer, by the way, taking issue with who he thinks the starters are. But smart of him to kind of mention the rookie he maybe has the most faith in breaking in as a way to say, like, well, I mentioned the rookies. Not really, Bill. Not really.
Yeah, but like for he can only go off what he goes off. Like, and he has to try to have it as level as possible for all 32 teams. It's a tough project, and it's going to have holes because it's not perfect because you're projecting. So, like, Elikai Manor was a 138th pick in the draft, right? Like, usually, pick 138 doesn't do much.
Correct.
Because usually, pick 138 doesn't have the opportunity that Elikai Manor has as a rookie. Like, there is room for him to insert himself in the offense. He's not picked as a developmental, role player wide receiver. He could be wide receiver 2 pretty damn soon.
Yeah, if my memory serves, 11.8% of day 3 pass catchers. Actually, I think it's just receivers. So 11.8% of day 3 receivers since 2015 have gone on to have more than 500 yards in their rookie season. So that's kind of that's a good way to frame the reality of these guys typically not. It's not to say, well, I mean, statistically, day 3 guys don't work out in the NFL. Like, not many of them hit. And even few of those guys that do hit as rookies. So that I get from a 10,000-foot non-specific, non-digging through the beat and like the actual, the scuttlebutt on the streets here in Nashville. I get where Bill's coming from. It's just, he's missing a lot here because with Elick and Chimere Dike and Gunnar Helm, all 3 of those guys can, and I think will, or at least 2 of them, just playing the odds, be significant contributors and considered starters, if not by the end of the season, or excuse me, if not by the beginning of the season, then by mid-season, and if not by mid-season, then by the end of the season. Like this whole season, like for him to, it's predictable and annoying for him to bring up Tyler Lockett, a guy who this coaching staff is not like, newsflash, folks. This coaching staff is not currently leaning on Tyler Lockett in some big way. Like, well, we need Tyler to be a big part of this offense. That's not where their heads are at. So I don't know why that's where Bill's head is at. And like, he's probably just, looking at them. But if he, again, I'm asking Bill to do a lot of legwork here. But to write this kind of article, like if you want to be correct,
it's your job.
it's your job to really dig into these things on each beat. So,
and Bill Barnwell gets paid a lot of money because his
does.
articles get a lot of traffic and a lot of subscriptions because most of it's behind the ESPN Plus paywall. So it is his job to be as thorough as these projects are supposed to be. That's the point.
So if Bill had read one of my articles from the past month, or read one of, I'd imagine his colleague Teron Davenport's articles from the past month would clear this up a decent amount, or just shot Teron a text, or read one of Paul Kaharski's articles, or like it wouldn't have been that difficult to say, oh, would you look at that? I probably shouldn't be talking as much about Van Jefferson and Tyler Lockett
and Tajay Spears, to be honest.
Yes, which I take issue, by the way, with him saying Tajay Spears not explosive. Well, because you're measuring him as a runner. He's not a running back. He's a receiving back, Bill. Like he's like only 12 of his 84 carries. It was not how he's used.
Yeah, but it's also like it's hard to be explosive down the field when the O-line sucks and can't get to the second level.
That's what I was going to say, is that nobody on this team was explosive last year. I mean, the success rate and the explosiveness are the ways that the measuring sticks he measured the two backs against, when he should have taken into account that this offensive line, like, is this a offensive line ranking, or is it a skill player ranking? Because this was a very bottom of the league offensive line. I forget where exactly they finished.
Play, right? And quarterback play. So these guys are sitting here like
the ship was scuttled.
You're about to learn, Easton. You're about to learn this reference because you have to watch Space Jam this week.
Oh yeah.
And the Titans running backs last year were playing with chains around their ankles, like Michael Jordan was supposed to be doing on Moron Mountain. So you will understand that shortly.
I know some friends that live on Moron Mountain.
There's some people in here that are from Moron Mountain. Right? I mean, I think that's, but again, like I think you will get that.
I co-host this show with somebody that lives on Moron Mountain.
Don't say that about Ryan when he's on vacation. It's not cool.
Wasn't talking about Ryan. So.
But no, so I like all jokes aside, like I do think Bill Barnwell's wrong a lot more than he was right about the analysis.
Talking about Ryan's wife, who thinks my name is stupid. Anyways, sorry, you continue.
Good night, man.
Well, she said I had a stupid name, so all bets are off.
Yeah.
Rebecca, or whatever. I've already forgotten her name. Sorry, Mrs. Roberts.
Oh man. All right, so let's think about, like, I think there's another place where Barnwell missed, because the Titans should not be 32nd on this at all. Like, I think easily they should move up a couple spots. And I do have a problem with his rankings. We'll get that here in a second with this next level question of what would be a more appropriate NFL ranking of the Titans offensive skill players. Because right now they're 32nd. They're not 32nd, but they're also not like 23rd either. They're not great, but they're better than dead last. So where is a more appropriate NFL ranking of the Titans offensive skill players besides dead last? We're going to get to that here in a second. But first, I want to tell you guys about our great friends at the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever an injury happens in life, you have to make sure you have the team you can trust and the team that can help you get back off of the sidelines and get rid of that inconvenience that is an injury as an adult. So that's what they are. When you get hurt as an adult, it's just a major inconvenience. Nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody has time. We all got stuff to do. We have families. We have friends. We got a social life. We got work. We don't need to be hurt. That's annoying. So go to the Bone and Joint Institute. They got you covered there. Speaking of great content, great Dog Talk segment a couple weeks ago about the Achilles injury. We'll talk more, I'm sure, about Lloyd Cushenberry over the next couple weeks. So we're just 2 weeks away from training camp. But book an appointment. We need them online, boneandjointtn.org.
So much more to say, but first, make sure you've left a 5-star Google review for us. Search ATOZ Sports on Google. Hit that 5th star on the right, please and thank you. We appreciate you guys sending those in. Turning to the chat here, where would be a more appropriate NFL ranking of the Titans' offensive skill players? Kendall says in the late 20s. Kaz says 28th. Darius says 29th, as does Ashley. Tall Texan makes the general point, which I agree with here. They have so many rookies they are going to depend on. It is impossible to rank the skill players. Yeah, really difficult exercise for the Titans ahead of this season.
I would have been totally fine if Bill Barnwell just said, can't rank them.
Like, yeah, I mean, I would even say if he had put them 32 and then explained it the way that we kind of broke it down, I just said, yep, checks out.
Because he is wrong when he lists 6 names. Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, and Alec Iomanner are 3 names that are correct. In trying to get the top 5 contributors, like Tajay Spears, Tyler Lockett, and Van Jefferson are not going to be top 5 contributors in the offense.
Pull that back up. Here's how this article should have gone, generally.
Okay.
Should have said, Tony Pollard had a good year, but can't be relied upon to do everything and waned down the stretch despite dealing with an injury. Tajay Spears' injuries keeping him out of play, not in any kind of rhythm, not super successful as a actual running back. And in the receiving game, he has to be on the field to be an impact there. In the receiving game, you need Ridley to finish the year or to play this year the way that he finished last year. If he starts like he did last year, you're not getting the bang for your buck. Van Jefferson and Tyler Lockett are on this team, and if you're having to rely on them, then this certainly is the 32nd ranked skill position group in the league. Now, luckily, the Titans have a number of young guys in the fold, Alec Iomanner, Chimere Dike, Gunnar Helm, but they're all 4th-round pass catchers who you're relying upon as rookies, which statistically is a difficult thing to do. Despite these guys having a lot of hype so far and a ton of opportunity, I'm going to believe it when I see it.
Yeah,
Titans, that 32nd overall.
And basically say, like, I would not rank them because it's impossible to rank them. Like,
sure.
Yeah.
Or they have to be last because I don't know what's going on yet.
Yeah. I don't think I would not have a problem with that. I could see how some people might, but I don't have a problem with that at all, to be honest, if that was his approach. So,
but the majority of folks seem to think that they should be ranked in the. There's still a couple of folks that think they should be 31, 30, but most folks say 28, 29. So I'd say the average person in the chat thinks that there are at least 3 teams that should be below the Titans in this ranking. So I'd be curious to see if we can identify those 3 teams.
Okay, let's look at it. Because another thing that's being forgotten is the Titans, with one of the worst quarterback and offensive line plays in the entire league, had a 1,000-yard receiver and a 1,000-yard running back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to look this up off the top of my head of teams that had both a 1,000-yard receiver and a 1,000-yard rusher. There's only 16 1,000-yard rushers in the entire league. So, like...
And probably, like 20 receivers?
There are 24 receivers. Okay. So, like, the Lions, the Eagles are the obvious ones, right? Because they had multiple 1,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard rusher, 2,000-yard rusher, a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean, just playing the odds, it's probably like 12 or 13 teams had one of each.
Like Baltimore, big-time rushing. Zay Flowers barely cracked 1,000 yards, so Baltimore counts.
Yep.
With Derrick Henry. Atlanta, as I'm looking through the receivers, Atlanta had Drake London. So Atlanta's got 2. The Colts, did the Colts have a 1,000-yard receiver?
Are you counting how many teams you've talked about so far?
Nope. Are you?
Okay.
Nope. Well, I'm going, so that's 3.
Okay.
Because I'm going to rushing down. Detroit is a yes. That's 4. Green Bay with Josh Jacobs.
They definitely did not have a 1,000-yard receiver.
They did not. So continuing.
All those wide receiver 2s.
The Rams. Do the Rams have a 1,000-yard receiver? Yes.
Yes, but rushing, I don't know.
Wait.
Did Kyron Williams get to 1,000? Puka definitely had 1,000.
Puka did not have 1,000. 990.
What? 990? Oh, okay.
Kyron Williams had 1,000. So Carolina.
That's surprising.
Chuba Hubbard had 1,000. Did Carolina have a 1,000-yard receiver?
No. What, Jalen Coker out there with 1,000 yards? No shot.
No. So we're still at
Cokeheads, where are we at?
We're at 4 teams. Minnesota, yes. Tampa
Rushing?
Bay.
Who's their
I'm listing. I'm starting with
right?
rushing.
Who was their running back that had 1,000
Aaron
yards?
Jones, 1,100 yards.
He had 1,000 yards. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we're at 5. So Tampa Bay is a yes. Bucky Irving and
Mike Evans forever and always.
So that is 6. Arizona, James Conner went over 1,000 yards.
They did not have a 1,000-yard receiver.
They did. Trey McBride.
Oh, fair. Forgot the tight ends exist
So that's
for a minute.
7, and then Tony Pollard 8. Dallas.
Yes.
Well,
yeah. I guess if they had a running back that did, that's
Rico
surprising.
Dowdle.
Yeah, I didn't know Dowdle got to 1,000. Yeah, I mean CD definitely got to 1,000.
Yep, and then Najee Harris with Pittsburgh. Did Pittsburgh have a 1,000-yard receiver?
No, Pickens didn't have 1,000, did he? No shot.
No, he did not. So not many. Like a third of the league has.
What do we get to? 10 teams here? 9 teams?
Houston. Did Houston have a 1,000-yard receiver?
Yes. Nico Collins definitely had 1,000.
Barely 1,006.
Wow, these guys are cutting it close.
And look, Calvin Ridley cut it close. Mike Evans cut it close. So 10 teams.
Let's say how many guys had 1,100 yards last year as a receiver? Of those 24 that had 1,000, how many got to 11?
I mean, AJ Brown did.
Sure.
14.
Best receiver in the league. 14 got to 11.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the receiving? Who won? Was it Chase with the most receiving yards last year?
Yeah.
And how many did he have? Like 1,400?
1,700.
17. Wow. Bigger year than I remember.
Yeah, he was 1,700. Justin Jefferson was 1,500. Then it dropped down to Brian Thomas at 1,280.
Man, Brian Thomas finished in 3rd.
Drake London was 4th.
I can't wait. I can't wait in August to talk about how this Jaguars receiving core is just going to be unreal.
So my point is, 10 teams last year had a 1,000-yard receiver, and a 1,000-yard pass catcher, and a 1,000-yard rusher.
Yes.
The Titans were one of them, and they're dead last here. And those guys should be better this year, or at least more efficient this year, because the offense should be more efficient this year because the offensive line and the quarterback play, you got to think, is going to be better, right? So that's where I look at the Titans being 32nd is inaccurate because I think they should be better than Carolina, because Carolina has – just because they drafted Ted McMillan 8th doesn't mean he's going to immediately equal or be better than Calvin Ridley. Like Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen, who's 34. Like Jonathan Brooks and like Chuba Hubbard was solid, but so there's just as much unknown with the Panthers. Actually, there's more because you've got 1,000-yard established guys with the Titans. The Patriots are complete unknown. They should not be above the Titans.
The Patriots absolutely should not be above the Titans. I'm trying to look at the other teams that are nearby.
The Browns.
The Browns are funny because, I mean, there's a lot of projection with their running back situation, obviously. And then the receivers, they've got guys that should work, but it's like
Jerry Jeudy.
I better say it's projection. Well, I mean, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore.
Can we stop projecting Elijah Moore to be anything? Because he hasn't.
Sure. I'm with you on that at this point, but people do talk about him that way. I'm blanking. Tennessee receiver, rookie last year.
Cedric Tillman.
Yeah. Tillman had a nice year. But what's he going to be? Like
still,
a 2 at best, maybe a 3.
Yeah. So I think
they don't have anybody close to Calvin. So like I'm just kind of I would probably put the Titans ahead of them.
Then you have the Bills at 28th. So
the Bills, I guess people would be surprised by that just at your first gut reaction, but then you think about it for a minute and it's like, yeah, well, it's the Josh Allen show. Like and by Bill Barnwell's own criteria here, more heavily ranking the receivers, checks out. Like the Bills don't have any, like Keon Coleman needs to have a very big year after a disappointing rookie season. And he's like, you hope he's your one. Outside of him, it's Khalil Shakir.
Matt Collins. Josh Palmer.
Mac is whatever. Palmer's whatever. Khalil Shakir is really the one on this team, and he's a underrated, very good player. But he is limited as if he's your number one, you've got some limitations, and that's what the Bills dealt with basically all of last year.
And James Cook was good, right? So you've got that.
Cook is very good,
right?
Cook is fantastic, actually.
So I'm okay with the Titans being behind the Bills. The
Yeah,
Jets,
it's close. That's fine with me.
The Jets.
You got to. They got two studs at running back and at receiver. I get it, man. Two young
Okay.
studs.
The Giants, because they've got Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, it's like Malik is doing so much heavy lifting, right? Because it's Malik and it's Wan'Dale Robinson. Hello, the king of
Darius Slayton.
yeah. Like, man. Who did he? Do you have it pulled up? Who did he list as the 5 contributors for the Giants?
Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton,
Yeah,
Wan'Dale Robinson,
gross,
Theo Johnson, tight end,
gross.
Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, man. Like that.
I'd take the Titans.
I get it with Malik. Like he's the man. It's just
So I would have the
draft
Titans.
Malik Neighbors in your fantasy leagues this year. He's gonna get some outrageous target share. It's gonna be unbelievable.
So I would officially have the Titans 28th. I would have the Titans above the Panthers, the Patriots, the Browns, and the Giants.
Behind the Jets, behind the Bills, behind the Bears. Yeah, because once you get to Bears at 25, Bears at 25 is kind of crazy. That's a big jump. You know, like that feels like a tier jump in talent.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, what did I say, 28th?
Yeah. The Saints at 24 above the Bears. Oh, I guarantee Chicago radio is having a field day with that today.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I think Titans not getting enough credit for Ridley and Pollard are not getting enough credit. I think for what they were able to work through last year to hit benchmark numbers in the NFL. And their situation should be better. And then the unknowns of the guys around them. But not having Chig in this conversation is also weird, too. So, I don't know.
Or Helm. Hey, by the way, you mentioned Ridley. The one thing I forgot to mention on Ridley, pull this back up, where he says Ridley, who was better moving around the formation in Tennessee after being but he dropped 7 passes and wasn't always the reliable target a struggling group of quarterbacks needed. Brother, Calvin Ridley led the league last year in receivers with uncatchable passes thrown their way. This was not a Ridley was bad for the quarterback situation. It was the other way around. Take them words and flip it. That is a backwards reading of the situation. That might be the most funny element of this. It's kind of small, but the insinuation that Ridley was like this problem for if only Ridley was better, then maybe Will Levis would have been better. Incorrect, man. Wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Ridley was awesome to start the year. He started slow, but he was not the problem.
No. And I think that's the overall theme of this is that you also have to enter that analysis with last year, Will Levis was bad. Therefore, everybody that's returning from last year had a bad year. Or had holes in their game. Right? And there was no mention of that, of like context of how awful the quarterback situation was outside of like struggling quarterbacks that Calvin Ridley failed.
Quarterback is the deodorant of a roster, right? They'll make everybody else smell good, or they will make everybody else smell really bad.
The Buffalo Bills being a bottom 5 skill player unit, but
Josh Allen is a premium deodorant, my friends. He is a top of the line.
Yeah. Scott says, "What are y'all talking about? We're the worst team." I mean,
not the conversation. We're not ranking teams this morning,
and we don't know who the worst team is going to be in 2025. The Titans were the worst team in 2024. We have no idea who's going to be the worst team next year. It hadn't started yet.
I thought John had a pretty poignant comment where he says A to Z Sports Nashville. It's true.
Absolutely.
It's a good point.
100%. All right. That is our breakdown of Bill Barnwell's skill player positions. So, you ready for some trivia? It might be a little rusty.
Let's shake off the rust, stretch a little bit. Let's get to some trivia here on Wednesday. All right,
time for some trivia here on this Wednesday. Let's do it. Shout out to Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. They will help save some money on that new ride and not have to pay those downtown prices. Easton, are you ready for trivia?
Hit it.
All right, here we go. Trivia time.
Olympics. That's not good. I mean, it's fresh, but doesn't give me much faith.
It was like a year ago.
Wait, it better be about last year's Olympics. That's what I'm saying. Like, if this is like, if they're like in the 04, like I'm out immediately. I'm done.
All right, so Orlando puts
it better be about last year or Jesse Owens. Like,
I don't know if yeah. All right, we go NFL.
Michael
around
Phelps.
the horn. Yeah.
All right, NFL. Here we go. Lock in, chat. We're gonna need you. Darren Waller was originally drafted as a wide receiver by this AFC
Ooh.
team in 2015 before converting to tight end and finding success with the Raiders.
Ravens.
The Ravens. He was such a big receiver. What company owns the Pokemon video game franchise? Namco?
I don't know.
That might be wrong. That feels wrong.
Somebody's going to know. There's a Pokemon person in this situation.
Yeah, Chad, help us out. Who? Man, I'm going to know when I hear it. I was never a huge Pokemon video game guy. I collected cards as a kid. It's not Nintendo. Know that for sure. Nike. Yep, that's what it is. It's good.
I mean, Disney. I mean, Disney would not be a bad guess.
Chat, I know so Hasbro.
Hasbro?
No, it's not Hasbro. They're the board game folks. Chat, somebody has to know this. It's not Nintendo. Oh no. Digimon? Yeah, that's different.
Niantic? Is that right?
Nope, not even an option.
Game Freak. What is that? People are saying Game Freak.
Not an option either.
Mattel?
No.
Orlando, you're gonna have to adjust this over underline.
This is tough, man.
Can we just go to television, come back to it?
Yeah, let's look. Keep an eye on it for anybody that has answers to that.
People are saying it's Nintendo, but
it's not. Before becoming Superman, Henry Cavill starred in this historical fiction series, The Tudors, which aired on this premium cable channel in the United States from 2007 to 2010. Premium cable channel.
So what?
The
FX?
Tudors. Maybe? Yeah, it's like AMC, FX.
I feel like there's a lot of FX questions on this. No, we're getting a lot of Pokemon, or a lot of Nintendo, or Game.
I've seen a lot of Game Freak and Niantic, but it's not those. They weren't
USA
options.
For this.
USA sounds right. Let's try it. Nope. One of the top 5 grossing films in the United States in 2020 was this DC Universe film starring Margot
Premium
Robbie.
channel. We're dumb. Premium, you have to pay for it.
Oh,
HBO.
Whoops. Yeah, that's tough. Starring Margot Robbie. Well, so this is her as Harley Quinn. Is it Birds of Prey? Is it Suicide Squad?
I don't know.
I think Suicide Squad was that year? But was she really the star? I'm gonna say Suicide Squad. They made a bunch of money.
That's fair.
Nope.
Go do Nintendo.
Okay. It's not Nintendo. There's no way. That's news to me. All right. While Stairway was denied, Alice Cooper performed Feed My Frankenstein, and Tia Carrere sang a cover of the Ballroom Blitz in this 1992 film.
Oh, Wayne's World.
Okay, I was about to say that is Chinese to me.
Of course it is. That's another movie that you've never.
None of that made any sense. Founded in 1900, this brand of gum is named after a Spanish word for gum and consists of colorful candy-coated squares.
Oh, cheek. Oh no, I haven't seen these in forever.
Candy-coated squares.
Yeah, it's like little, like they're little machines at like Mexican restaurants. Chiclets.
Oh,
yes.
I see. Am I spelling it wrong?
Yeah, there's no.
Oh, there's no K.
There's no. Yeah.
Word. I love chiclets. Figure skater Oksana Bailo won the gold medal. Oh, look what they've done to us in the 1994 Olympics while representing this country. I mean, Oksana, what is that? Japanese? This is Japan, South Korea. It feels East Asian. Just as I'm profiling the name here.
The answer is Ukraine.
Maybe. I don't know. And is that okay? Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it'd be an East.
We're getting Russian or Ukrainian from two people. So
Ukraine is known for their figure skating, I think.
I'm positive.
Okay, all right. Word, good stuff. Way to go, Ann. Appreciate you. The Human Highlight Film was a nickname associated with this NBA Hall of Famer who played in the 98-99 season.
Who last played? That would have been Dominique Wilkins.
Okay. Oh, got to click it. Nice. Who? I recognize the woman.
I recognize the guy on the outside too.
Is the outside Hugh Grant?
Maybe.
Chat, check me on that. Is that Hugh Grant on the outside? The inside, man, she's familiar. What is her name?
We've got nothing other than Orlando calling you over, profiling the hell out of that name for it to be Ukrainian.
I mean, we have. What else are we supposed to do?
Richard. Yeah, that's Richard Gere.
Is it okay?
Yeah, not
It could have been
Cruz. Penelope Cruz.
She kind of looks right, actually. I don't know. Joshua's saying enhance. Let's try Penelope Cruz. We've already lost today. What do we want to double dip on?
Oh, God.
Okay, let's try this. Yeah, it was Birds of Prey. No, it wasn't Birds of Prey, apparently. Okay, what was it? Oh, it was.
Ooh.
Okay, it was Birds of Prey.
Only 4% got the mashup.
I'm shocked that. Wait, what was the mashup? Oh, yeah. So we were super wrong on it being Richard Gere, John Bon Jovi, whoops, and Casey Musgraves. Okay.
Yeah.
Television. What was this? Showtime. We didn't even mention Showtime.
Somebody in the chat did.
Did they? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, Premiere. Like, we have to pay for it. That makes sense. And it wasn't Nintendo.
4% is
that's
tight. Man, the Nintendo one, we were just throwing air balls, apparently.
That was all you.
I totally... Yeah, I was so convinced that's not Nintendo.
Hey, I'm just proud of my Wayne's World and Dominique Wilkins contributions.
Hey, well done. I did nothing today besides throw us off the scent. So
no, I did. I just realized this. I think this had a '90s flair.
It did. I mean, yeah, the '90s Olympics, '90s NBA, Wayne's World,
'90s music,
Pokemon video game was huge then.
Yeah,
it totally did.
Kindle says, Austin, how did you not know that? Not know what?
Which one?
I don't know. He's just saying we're millennials.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing what? Nintendo one. Probably Nintendo. I did say I never. Really
I was never a Pokemon person.
So, whoops.
I want to know.
Oopsies.
What you oopsies?
Just oopsies on the Nintendo thing.
Pokemon. Yeah, I wasn't a Pokemon person. Sorry. All right, that's it for us. Make sure you hit that like button. We'll be back tomorrow live. We're live from here until the end of time. So you can stop complaining about that. No more vacations for us. So, all right, guys, we'll catch you guys later on. Appreciate it as always. Like the show. See you tomorrow.